Hello and welcome back to our series on mastering conditional formatting in Excel. In our last video, we explored highlight cells rules in details. If you missed it, you can catch up by following the link in the description after this video. Moving on, let's explore top/bottom rules in conditional formatting that let us highlight cells with the highest or lowest values in a range. This is incredibly useful when you want to quickly identify things like top-performing salespersons, lowest inventory levels in a dataset. We'll be using the same dataset featured in our previous highlight cells rules video. One important note to highlight here is that, unlike highlight cells rules, top/bottom rules are primarily designed to work with numerical data. Let's start with first rule, that is top 10 items. For that we will select this data range. Now go to Conditional Formatting, top/bottom rules and select top 10 items. You can adjust the number as needed. If you want top 5 items, you can write 5 here. We will keep it 10. We can select different colors from here and enter. Here, as you can see, top 10 items have been highlighted in these 3 columns. If you wish to highlight the top 10 items within a single column, simply choose that specific column. This feature enables a more tailored analysis, emphasizing the highest values within the chosen dataset, whether across multiple columns or within a single column. What's great about this rule is its dynamic nature. If your data changes, new values are added or existing values are updated, the highlighting will adjust accordingly. Moving on to the bottom 10 items, this rule functions as the inverse of the top 10 items. Instead of highlighting the top 10 values in a given range, it identifies and highlights the cells containing the lowest 10 values within the specified range. Now, let's explore another facet of conditional formatting, the top 10% and bottom 10% rule. The top 10% and bottom 10% rule functions by highlighting cells based on their percentile ranking within the selected range. Instead of focusing on a fixed number of items, it identifies and highlights the top 10% and bottom 10% of values in the dataset. Let's take the total marks column as an example this time. We'll choose this dataset for illustration. Here, we have a total of 20 records. Considering 10% of 20 is 2, applying this formatting will highlight the top 2 items in our dataset. If there are ties in the total marks where multiple entries share the same value as the top 2 items, the formatting will extend to highlight the subsequent entry as well. With the bottom 10% option, we're currently highlighting the lowest 10% of values. If we adjust this to bottom 25%, considering 25% of our total 20 records equals 5, the formatting will then highlight the bottom 5 items in our dataset. Let's focus on the above average and below average options, specifically using the Maths Marks column as an example. The average score within these 20 entries stands at 57.35. If we opt for above average, the formatting will highlight all cells with values greater than 57.35. On the contrary, with below average, it will highlight cells containing values less than 57.35. Before we wrap up, here's an essential note. While top/bottom rules may not directly apply to text values, they do work effectively with dates. So, if you're working with date-based datasets, these rules offer a simple way to highlight significant date ranges within your data. It's a useful feature worth exploring, especially when dealing with date-related information in your spreadsheets. For example, if we want to identify the 5 latest dates in your dataset, simply select the Date column, navigate to Conditional Formatting, choose Top 10 Items, and adjust it to 5. Pick a distinct color. The 5 latest dates will be highlighted in your data, making it effortless to spot the most recent entries. Top/bottom rules in conditional formatting are incredibly useful for swiftly identifying important data points within your spreadsheets. If you found this walkthrough helpful, consider giving this video a thumbs up and don't forget to subscribe for more Excel tutorials. As promised, the link to our previous video on highlight cells rules is waiting for you in the description below.